at this moment, it is an honor to introduce our speaker for today's session. She has been in the academe since 2014 as a full-fledged faculty member of the Camarines Sur Polytechnic Colleges, Philippines. She obtained her undergraduate degree in biology from Bicol University, Legazpi City, Philippines. And her Master of Science in Environmental Science was received at the University of Nueva Cáceres, Naga City, Philippines. She is pursuing a Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Management and Studies at Miriam College, Quezon City, Philippines. Her career has been dedicated to academic research and development. Starting as a science research assistant, she climbed the ladder to become the director of a regional consortium. This consortium, the Bicol Consortium for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development, or BSEER, is part of a network overseen by the Department of Science and Technology's Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development, or DOST BSEER. She also held concurrent positions as Director of Research Ethics Services and Chair of the Research Ethics Board at her institution, the Camarines Sur Polytechnic Colleges. In addition to her teaching duties, she has multiple distinguished roles, such as National Accreditor of Academic Programs relevant to her field, Reviewer of Research Articles for reputable journals, and Evaluator of Research presented at local and international conferences. Research focuses on lake ecosystems and the relationship between humans and their environment, or human ecology. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Associate Professor Ruby Jane S. Gonzalez.
My greetings to the organizers of this webinar series, with special mention to the President of Camarines Sur Polytechnic Colleges, Dr. Amado A. Oliva Jr., the Vice President for Research, Extension, Production, and Entrepreneurial Development, Dr. Chalice O. Omoro, and the Director of the Center for Research and Development, Dr. Harold John Harteran. Researchers, allow me to welcome you, whether you are seasoned scholars or passionate students, embarking on your research journey. You see, research can seem daunting, especially for beginners, right? Lalong-lalo na po sa undergrad level. Others would say it is highly technical in nature and only scientists or experts can do it. But you know, research is a process that anyone can engage in, regardless of background or expertise. With proper guidance, resources, and systematic approach, individuals can actually develop the skills necessary to conduct meaningful research. By breaking down the research process into manageable steps, such as identifying a research problem, developing a hypothesis, and systematically collecting and analyzing data, beginners can build confidence and competence in their research abilities. You see, research is an accessible tool also for exploration, problem solving, and contributing to knowledge across various fields. And as members of the academic community, we put premium on research as the primary vehicle for cultivating innovation and expanding the frontiers of knowledge. So in this session, allow me to walk you through the practical steps involved in conceptualizing any research ideas you may have. Research conceptualization is an initial step before delving into the technical aspects of conducting research. So in this session, I hope for you to contextualize research as a method of inquiry, identify and conceptualize a research topic, and formulate a research problem until research questions. Now, in order to ensure we share a common understanding of the topic we will explore, I would like to first highlight the basic nature and purpose of research as an exploratory activity in our academic and professional pursuits. In science, research is the diligent systematic inquiry into nature and society to validate and refine existing knowledge and to generate new knowledge. I highlighted diligent systematic inquiry because research demands meticulous attention to detail, persistence, and dedication. It requires careful planning, execution, and analysis. Researchers often spend countless hours collecting, organizing, and interpreting data. Further, research follows a structured approach. It involves predefined steps from formulating research questions to collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data. This methodical process ensures reliability and validity of findings. Moreover, research is driven by curiosity and a desire to explore the unknown. It involves asking questions, seeking answers, and expanding knowledge. So researchers investigate a particular topic or problem to uncover new information or insights. So in other words, research embodies the process of knowledge creation, problem solving, and enhancing our understanding of diverse subjects. And these processes are rigorous ones or steps that require careful planning, execution, and analysis to generate reliable knowledge that drives innovation and progress in various fields or disciplines. So I hope I have contextualized research as a methodological process in this slide, in this definition. Okay, I'm going to present to you several concepts here. We have happiness, well-being, satisfaction, healthy, and school readiness. Okay, recitation time. Parang nasa classroom lang, no? Who wants to attempt to define one term? Anybody from the participants? The moderator may call one participant, please. Ano lang po, yung anything that comes to mind, just one or two words to describe any of these concepts.
So anyone from our participants who would like to share their idea on one of these concepts? Okay, we have Ma'am Rizzy A. Cernal. So according to
Yes
her,
po.
happiness is equivalent to contentment. So that's the definition of happiness
Okay.
for them.
Okay, that's one, contentment. Thank you. Another one. Another participant, another term, could be another term. So happiness is contentment for the first participant. Another participant, please, to define another term.
Anyone from our participants? Here we have few comments from the chat box. So according to Ma'am Edna Montañez, satisfaction for me is about fulfillment.
Okay,
And then-
satisfaction is fulfillment.
Yes, ma'am. And then from Mr. Jonathan Navarra, I think the concepts are measurable.
Right. Okay, meron pa po ba, Miss Badet?
From Miss Marnily Pamintuan, So she defines satisfaction, already get what she wants. So that's her definition.
Okay. Sige. So, ang tanong, pare-parehas ba tayo ng definition ng concept? Yes or no? No, right? Diba? Parang nagiging subjective yung definition natin. I may define happiness on a different lens. You have your own definition of happiness, of well-being, of satisfaction, of a healthy life, ba? Or school readiness. So, this is actually why itong challenge, the challenge of this simple exercise, okay, that we just had, of giving different meanings to one concept, highlights the importance of thorough research conceptualization as a prerequisite for effective research. And to think that, i-underscore ko ulit, that research is a rigorous scientific activity, then the more that we need to go into research conceptualization before actually diving into the actual research part, because that would help us save significant time and resources as a researcher. Okay? So I hope nakuha nyo yung context kung bakit kailangan nating mag-conceptualize. So next slide, please. So let us define, next po, research conceptualization. Now, research conceptualization is the process of not only selecting a topic but formulating a defensible and researchable problem. Napakasimple po ng definition, right? This definition may seem simple to understand, but you know the process is not simply generating lists of interesting topics for you to research on, but rather good conceptualization involves moving from a general topic to a clear research problem. And ultimately, yung research questions na gusto nyong sagutin sa inyong research. Now, how does the process of research conceptualization contribute to the success and clarity of a research? This part serves as the foundation for any successful research endeavor because it involves transforming raw ideas into well-defined research questions and objectives. Through this transformative process, researchers can delineate their focus areas, ensuring clarity of purpose that guides the subsequent phases of the study. So that by the end of this process, you will have established a clear and structured roadmap to achieve your research objectives. So in essence, research conceptualization is a process of critical thinking, exploration, and refinement that lays the groundwork for a successful research project. Hence, it is the bridge between your general topic of interest and a well-defined research question. Now, let's go into the steps. How do we actually do the research conceptualization process? There are two steps involved. First, identifying your topic of interest. And then second, establishing the problem your topic hopes to solve, including filling in a gap or extending the literature in a new and exciting direction. Now, in these two steps, let us differentiate two key terms: research topic and research problem. Okay, so the research topic is a broad area of interest or field of study that forms the basis for research, while a research problem refers to specific challenge, issue, or knowledge gap that needs to be addressed within the broader research topic. So generally, wider ang scope ng research topic, while narrower and more defined dapat ang research problem. And actually, for new researchers, challenge ang maka-arrive tayo sa research topic without actually identifying first, sa research problem, without identifying first the research topic, okay? The broad area of interest you would like to study. Usually, nauuna yung pag-identify ng research topic before the research problem. But that is my experience or observation in mentoring students. Mas nabe-benefit sila if initially they should have identified a broad research topic first. On the other hand, para sa mga experienced researchers, lalong-lalo na yung mga colleagues natin sa academe who are already doing research for a very long time, and because they have already established their expertise in a specific area of study, okay, mas madali po sa kanilang dumiretso sa research problem. So I hope na differentiate natin yung dalawang key terms na to. Research topic is broader than the research problem. Okay, examples para mas maintindihan ng mga new researchers. We have here 3 examples. First, research topic, the impact of technology integration on student learning outcomes in K-12 schools. This is a broad one, kaya for example, ang gusto niya lang aralan ng isang researcher sa education is how does the integration of technology in K-12 classrooms affect students' academic performance, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving abilities. Okay. Second example is an example in tourism. Research topic, sustainable tourism development in coastal communities. Specific research problem, what are the key challenges and opportunities for developing sustainable tourism in coastal communities while preserving the environment and benefiting local communities. Third example, the research topic is the effects of climate change on biodiversity in freshwater ecosystems. The research problem to be tackled is how does climate change impact the distribution, abundance, and behavior of plant and animal species in lakes. Right, so I hope in this example, na-comprehend nyo yung distinction between a broad research topic and yung mas specific na research problem. So let's go over step 1. I would like to introduce to you the different tools that we researchers can use, okay, in identifying the research topic. First, we have data and theory-driven tools, which are actually derived from secondary sources and primary sources, okay? Kapag sinabi nating secondary sources, these are theory, information, or data that actually comes from journal articles that are typically peer-reviewed, okay? Na accessible in both print and digital formats. They are actually very much available online, okay? Next, we have academic books, which we are all familiar with. Usually in print, nakikita natin sa mga libraries, but e-books are already available. These are published by academic presses or publishing companies, which include but not limited to encyclopedia and original or reprinted book collections from your disciplines or fields. We also have professional reports. These are often produced by government agencies or organizations like the World Health Organization, the UNESCO, UNICEF, and many more, which are valuable sources of information. On the other hand, yung primary data is important not only for data collection, but also for the initial conceptualization phase of a research project. This includes a wide range of materials coming from online materials or websites, government documents or records, brochures, and posters. These sources can be analyzed to identify key aspects of a research topic and can also be used as data for the study itself. Okay? So later on, iisa-isahin natin yung proseso kung paano natin magagamit ang literature and primary data sa pag-conceptualize. Another tool is the researcher-driven sources, which includes several brainstorming exercises that you can develop to generate ideas such as mind mapping, concept mapping, and literature mapping. Okay? So isa-isahin natin ang mga ito. Nandun pa lang tayo sa first step, okay? Now, how do we make use of the literature to conceptualize? By thoroughly examining the literature, researchers can uncover essential components for their study. And this includes identifying foundational theories, defining key terms. So, yung term na dinefine nyo kanina, yung definition would actually vary, okay? Depending on the type of literature na pwede nyo mahanap or mabasa, okay? Grasping core concepts, exploring established methodologies, understanding relevant data types, and analyzing previous interpretations. Ang mga process na to ay mahalaga for developing a strong conceptual framework or basis doon sa iniisip nyong research topic. Now, once you have identified the key questions, theories, and concepts that dominate the literature on your topic, you can start to identify what is not known, problematic, or missing, okay, in a manner that will not only aid in this phase of conceptualization, but is actually critical for developing an informed literature review. Please bear in mind na itong lit review na rin, in a sense, in this phase of research, which is research conceptualization, we are actually doing this as a source of inspiration for our research topic. Hindi pa tayo doon sa part ng literature review, okay? Pero kailangan na siya actually because hindi nyo mabubuo as a researcher yung specific research problem nyo kung hindi tayo magbabasa ng literature. Okay? So please bear in mind that literature reviews are actually demanding pagdating sa oras, okay? At effort due to the critical analysis required to understand and synthesize complex ideas related to your desired research concept. Pero in the next session, you will be guided, you will be given a comprehensive guide to conducting literature reviews. Okay? So, ulitin ko, for purposes of inspiration to your research topic, mahalaga na po ang magkaroon kayo ng literature review. So, in this part pa lamang, essential na po yung literature review. Okay? Now, to concretize this tool, tingnan natin yung succeeding slides for examples. Kailangan mahanap natin yung what is not known or what is problematic or what is missing sa literature. Okay, so after reading several studies probably or articles or theories in your field, gawin nyo pong guide etong table na to. Okay? You can ask what major theories have been used to examine my topic. Okay? And then on the opposite side, second column, do these theories adequately capture the phenomenon under study? Are there other possible theories that should be considered? Okay? So sagutin nyo na po ang mga questions na to sa paghahanap nyo, pagbabasa nyo. Another, what major concepts have been used to examine my topic? Do these concepts adequately capture the phenomenon under study? Are there other possible concepts that should be considered? How have concepts been defined? Okay? How have they been measured? So, titingnan nyo na ngayon sa study. Ano yung definition niya ng happiness, ng contentment, ng satisfaction? Anong indicators ang ginamit ng researcher na to sa pag-define niya? Ano ang hindi niya kinapture? Okay? Are there problems with the current definitions? May kulang ba? Sapat na ba yun? Or may kulang pa? What kinds of data have been used to examine my topic? Okay? Are there other possible sources of data? Are there problems with the data that have been used? What concepts or ideas or relationships tend to be in the foreground and background? Should a particular concept be given more or less weight? What would happen if I switched the foreground and background? Okay. Next slide, please. What are the dominant interpretations or findings? Do the dominant interpretations make sense? Okay. Is there a reasonable connection between the data and interpretation? What relationships have been examined? What other relationships could be examined? Are there relationships currently under study still the most important, or should we consider new ones? Okay. Relevant pa ba yung relationship na na-present niya sa study niya? Or dapat ba may bagong anggulo na tayong titingnan? What has been the context? Okay, is the context of my study the same? Okay, or kakaiba? Or pwede kayang baguhin, i-tweak natin, okay, based from what you have read? What questions have been asked about my topic? Okay, ano naman yung hindi pa natatanong? Is there a time, geography, or location dimension to these questions? If so, what would happen if I alter it? So for example, in my previous example on research topic on climate change in freshwater bodies, okay? Kung ang gusto kong aralan ay sa lakes, okay? What if I also study the effects of climate change in rivers? Diba? Magiging pareho kaya ang resulta? And sa oras, kung rainy season ba, parehas ba ang effect? Okay? Ang result, ang datang makukolect versus kung dry season, summer season in these types of environments. Okay? What would happen if I turned dominant questions around? Okay. For example, in here, rather than ask why there are so many high school dropouts, ask why there are not more. What if I turned positive questions into negative questions or vice versa? Like rather than asking how dropouts and graduates are different, ask how they are not different. Okay, next slide, please. What are the major debates on my topic? Have these debates limited the scholarship on my topic in a particular manner? Na-cover niya ba itong major debate na to, major theory? Na-cover niya ba kung ibang aspect ang gusto kong tahakin sa research? Okay. Does one side appear to have more credibility? Do the debates focus on the data, theories, interpretation, or some combination of the three? How have others justified their study or its contributions? What do others have to say? Pwede mo ba tong ma-justify on a different light? Can I use other rationale, okay, to justify my study and its contributions? Do their findings confirm or disconfirm research from my discipline? Mind you, kapag naiba yung result nyo doon sa nababasa nyo, okay, it doesn't mean na mali yung output ng research nyo, unless otherwise questionable yung inyong research methodology. But what if you have a sound research methodology and yet ito pa rin yung lumabas na data sa study mo, which you will compare now with previous data. Okay? Mali ba yung study ko? What if may bago kang na-discover na relationship, na angulo sa study? Okay? Na nangangailangan pala ng panibagong theory. What frameworks, theories, or data am I most comfortable using to study my topic? What alternative frameworks, theories, or data are available on my topic? And how would critics of my approach or scholars using alternative frameworks, theories, or data examine my topic? Okay? So, itong mga questions na to, pwede nyo tong maging guide, okay? Sa pagbasa nyo ng related literature for inspiration purposes para lang ma-delineate ang inyong research topic. Okay? All right. So let's proceed to how are we going to use now the raw data to conceptualize your research topic. Okay? Raw data is the unprocessed information collected for research purposes. Okay. Kung doon sa literature, secondary sources, yung mababasa nyo ay may interpretation na ng data, this raw data is different. Naka-present lang siya as it is na walang further processing. Okay? It comes in numerical figures, text, or multimedia and serves as the foundation for analysis and insights. Okay. So, papaano natin pwedeng magamit ang raw data? First, identify the specific data source relevant to your research topic of interest. Once identified, gather this information from various sources and organize the collected data into a structured format to facilitate analysis. Okay? Next step is to carefully scrutinize the data to detect patterns, trends, or anomalies, and then interpret the findings to derive meaningful conclusions that contribute to your research objectives. Pero wala pa tayo sa data interpretation na to, ha? Nasa research conceptualization pa lang tayo, actually. Now, given that you have available raw data, you can actually engage in preliminary field work or conduct initial interviews or surveys para lang ma-situate nyo kung, or ma-contextualize nyo kung ang raw data bang ito na where you are interested to study ay pwede kong mabuong research problem. Okay? Para ma-define nyo yung research focus and direction nyo. Okay? Kunyari nakikimarites lang muna kayo, pero scientific in nature. Okay? Pagdating sa raw data. Okay, so tingnan natin ang example na to. Para ma-imagine nyo ang paggawa ng raw data. Okay? For research conceptualization. All right, here is the data I got from the Philippine Statistics Authority. So this is a single population in the Philippines in 2020. Tingnan nyo to. This is a raw data. Pero hitik na to sa information. But this is not a research in itself. Kasi wala naman siyang interpretation. Data lang siya actually. Okay? So, paano nyo to gagamitin? So, for example, naging interested kayo sa naaralin ng mga single sa Pilipinas. Okay? Or kahit sa CSPC na lang. Okay? So, pwede nyo tong magamit yung mga data from the PSA. PSA, hitik na hitik po yan sa data. DA, DTI, okay? World Health Organization, ano pa? UNICEF, UNESCO, yung na-mention ko kanina, and many other reliable government and non-government agencies. Ano ang pwedeng research topics na ma-derive nyo sa raw data na to? Here I have enumerated several. Pero kayo mismo, pwedeng makaderive din ng possible research topics, okay, from this data. So one could be, what are the factors affecting the increasing number of single individuals in the Philippines? Pwede to, kasi tingnan nyo naman, oh, ilang milyon to. Second, regional disparities in singlehood in the Philippines. Magkakaiba kaya ng data per region? Bakit kaya mas mataas sa region na to at mas mababa sa region na to? Isn't that an interesting study? Another, the impact of singlehood on economic and social development in the Philippines. Mas marami kaya ang economic contribution and social contribution ng mga single than the married working class? Diba? Sa Philippines. Pwede yon maging research topic. The relationship between sex ratio and singlehood in the Philippines. Another interesting topic to look into. And then the experiences and challenges faced by single individuals in the Philippines. Okay? O, di ba? This is just one example. So kung nakita nyo ang data na to, ay, what if tanungin ko kaya yung aking mga friends na single pa? Para lang magkaroon kayo ng, ito yung sinasabi ko kaninang, preliminary fieldwork. Okay? Yung initial interviews or survey. Okay? Meaning to say, yung haka-haka nyo, pwede nyong lagyan ng scientific process. Okay? Para lang mabuo yung research topic nyo in mind. Nakukuha nyo po? So, if we are to compare yung secondary sources as probable source of inspiration for research topic, kukuting-tingin nyo yun. You need to critically analyze and probably answer some of the questions I have presented to you, yung nasa matrix kanina. Whereas ito, pwedeng you already have data sets, okay, at hand, and kayo mismo pwedeng mag-analyze. Ay, aralin ko kaya yung data. Bakit kaya tumataas yung dengue cases dito sa part ng Rinconada na to. Okay? Or ng Kamsur. Or ng Albay. Bakit sa ibang area wala? Right? So that could be helpful in defining your research topic. All right, so that's it for data and theory-driven tools. Now we proceed to researcher-driven tools. Okay? Doon na tayo sa second class ng tools that which you can use pag conceptualize. Question, mind mapping. Nakapag-mind map na ba kayo? Have you experienced mind mapping? Yes or no? What do you do when you want to go on a vacation? For example, long weekend sa next starting 23, 24, 25. 26 ba? Okay, long weekend. Ano kaya ang pwede nating gawin sa long weekend? Anong ginagawa natin kapag gano'n? Pupunta po kami ng punta po kami ng Legazpi, ng Albay. We'll have break sa study, magsha-shopping, punta kami ng SM, daan kami ng Kagsawa, and then Sumlang Lake. Diba? You are actually mind mapping. Okay? Study the lessons daw. That's very good. When you would like to study the lessons, may plano ka. How are you going to study the lessons during this long weekend? For example, on a Friday, I'll study 2 or 3 subjects. The next day, gawa ako ng project namin for these 3 projects. Diba? So, it's as if you are planning things on your mind. Okay? So, just like with mind mapping sa research, pero ito nga lang, concept ang ima-mind map nyo, okay? So, a mind map is a visual tool that organizes information around a central idea, branching out into related subtopics. It shows how different topics are connected to the main concept. So it is actually a web of ideas similar to this example. Ang concept na present ko dito is about student achievement. Okay? But you will have to identify different factors that lead to student achievement. Okay? So in this example, naisip ko sa isang student achiever, ano kaya ang impact ng technology ginagamit niya? Meron ba siyang online learning platform? May access ba siya sa resources? Okay, so this could be one factor and sub-factors. Another, ano kaya ang ginagamit ng estudyante na to for improvement? 100% kaya ang support ng parents niya, ng guardians niya? How about supported ba siya ng other services? For example, sa school, tutorial services, guidance services, mga ganon. Pwede din bang aralin ang factors influencing the achievement? Would be yung socio-economic status. Has something to do ba with student achievement? Yung school environment ba? May contribution din? How about yung characteristics mismo ng estudyante? Masipag ba siya? Okay, mag-aral? Or just tipong bright lang siya na kahit impromptu, kaya niya talagang achieve lahat ng kayang submit sa lahat ng classes, ba? Yung type of assessment ba may kinalaman sa student achievement, like formative assessment, okay, quizzes, or exams, a summative assessment? This is just one example. Ibig sabihin sa mind mapping, Hindi po kailangan ganito kaayos, okay? Because you can actually do mind mapping na handwritten lang. Ito for presentation purposes lamang po ito dahil inayos ko siya. Pero actually, as you go along while reading the literature, paunti-unti nagkakaroon na kayo ngayon ng idea, nabubuo nyo na ngayon yung research topic nyo. Now, what if aralin ko ang mga factors na to? Okay? So, ang mind map, pag ginamit nyo, na-visualize nyo ang scope na pwede nyong aralin around that central concept which you would like to study. Okay? And from then, kapag as you go along, lalong-lalo na sa pagbabasa nyo ng secondary literature, secondary sources, marirefine nyo ito into a concept map. Okay? The next tool is a concept map. The concept map depicts suggested relationships between concepts, often including various interconnections and hierarchical structures. It uses shapes, boxes, or circles connected by labeled arrows, allowing more complex and multiple relationships between ideas. So, see the difference. Yung una, mind map. This one, concept map. What is the main difference? Pwedeng i-categorize nyo na ngayon yung factors. You can put shapes and colors. One category, one shape, one color. Para lang ma-organize nyo yung thoughts nyo. And then lalagyan nyo na to na linking words, interconnections. Okay? So if you can see in this example, yung first example, this one, the gray one, this is a concept map. Okay? Of the term concept map. So anong makikita dito? May linking words to form propositions. Okay? Concept maps can be used to organize knowledge for effective teaching. Concept maps can stimulate creativity by allowing for diverse connections and representations. Okay? Let's take a look at the second example about physical fitness. So kung makikita nyo dyan, the map emphasizes the importance of physical fitness, particularly through exercise, in achieving and maintaining good well-being. It highlights the potential consequences of an unhealthy lifestyle and the risk associated with neglecting physical health. Okay? So ano ang pwedeng research problem that can be derived out of this concept map? Could be the impact of different exercise modalities on cardiovascular health in adults. So pwede yon. The relationship between physical fitness and mental well-being among adolescents. Another one could be the effectiveness of exercise programs in preventing or managing chronic diseases. Okay? So somehow from a more vague concepts presented in the mind map, this time, medyo nagkakaroon na ng linaw. Okay? Yung concept na binubuo nyo. Kasi kaya nyo na ngayong bumuo na mag-derive ng probable research topic out of these research concepts. So now, na-distinguish na natin yung dalawang tools as presented under researcher-driven, okay? Mind map and concept maps. Let's proceed to the last tool, literature mapping. All right. Di ba kapag ka-researcher tayo, especially kapag meron pa lang tayong napipisil na research topic and yet wala pa talaga tayong totally idea. And then we tend to read as many literature as we can to look for related information. Ang feeling natin, we are already bombarded with a lot of information. So how do we make sense of all the information that you now have based from your reading? Okay, so similar to mind and concept mapping, eto naman ang literature map. Okay, ang intention niya is to focus on concepts, to map out the literature by theory, methods, and data, time period, context, or interpretation. It could be also on geography, okay? In which the goal is to identify similarities, connections, intersections, differences, and even holes or gaps in the literature. So, looking at the example on the right, those circles represent research paper, one research paper. Yung lines are connecting the circles, showing their relationship. The size could mean na mas marami na yung nagsasite sa paper na yan. Okay? The colors might be by topic, here, or other categories. So what does this literature map tells us? Okay? The larger circles are likely important papers in the field. Okay? You can see which papers are often cited together, suggesting active research areas. Areas with fewer papers or connections might indicate topics needing more research. Okay? So, yung lesser connection, meaning to say, at medyo malalayo na sa bigger circles, meaning to say, pwede nyo siyang i-explore. Kasi, ay, kukonti yung nag-aral. Okay, nakakonect sa paper ng ganitong author na to. Bakit kaya? Anong inaral niya? Okay. Anong focus ng research niya? Bakit hindi siya nakakonect sa iba? Okay? So probably, etong portion na to, marami pa ang pwedeng pag-aralan sa area na yan. Okay? Let us proceed to the next examples. Ito naman is another way of presenting literature maps. Kung yon nakikita nyo visually, okay, yung connection ng one research to the other, ito naman, mas may detail na to. For example, in the first set, okay, on your left, it is a literature map on the research of autism spectrum disorders and infant feeding. And pinapakita dyan yung iba't ibang studies connected sa isa't isa. Okay? Each box represents a research topic or theme. Yung lines connecting the boxes show how the topics are related to each other. And then inside the box, there is a text na kung saan nakaspecify yung research studies on that topic. Okay? Particularly yung author and yung year. Kung sino ang mga nag-aral pagdating sa ASD assessment risk factors, maternal experiences and observations of ASD, and so on and so forth. So in here, the map shows that there is a growing body of research on the relationship between autism spectrum disorder and infant feeding. However, there are still many gaps in the knowledge presented, and more research is needed to fully understand this complex issue. So, you may also opt to do a literature map like this matrix on the various factors that influence children's development, the one on the right. This is another way of presenting literature maps. Paano niya ginawa? Tatlong columns, yung major themes, okay, description, and then kung saan niya nahanap na researcher. Okay? So, ang inaral niyang factors are categorized into family conditions, focusing on parental characteristics and the family environment, children, which emphasizes child-related factors like cognitive and emotional development, preschool experience, highlighting the impact of early childhood education and learning opportunities, and neighborhood conditions, which consider the broader community context, including social support and resources. Okay? So in here, makikita nyo ngayon that sa literature maps, pwede nyo siyang i-organize around one central dimension of the literature. Could be several dimensions of the literature or as a multi-hierarchical representation of the literature. Meaning to say, flexible siya in such a way na kung saan nyo mas maiintindihan ng maayos na himayin ang konseptong nasa isip nyong i-research, doon kayo. Okay? So it could be organized in a variety of ways, including by theory or time period. Literature map may be represented in a manner similar to a mind or concept map or as a chart to differentiate various kinds of information. And these maps use crosslinks, which include simple lines, directional arrows, or circles to articulate a relationship between characteristics, outcomes, and concepts. So, by carefully analyzing literature maps, you can identify promising research topics that contribute to the advancement of knowledge in your field. But bear in mind po, okay, literature mapping is an iterative process, meaning to say, paulit-ulit. Kasi along the way, you cannot actually make literature map at once. Okay? Actually, hindi ganyan kalinis ang literature map. You could do it with, kahit messy siya, basta naiintindihan nyo, with lots of erasures, for as long as, okay, na-visualize nyo sa isip nyo kung paano nyo bubuuin yung research topic nyo. Okay? So, since it is an iterative process, you may need to revisit and refine your map as your understanding of the research field deepens as you go along with the readings in your literature review. Okay? So, nare-refine siya ng nare-refine until such time na makakabuo na kayo ngayon, makaka-finalize na kayo ngayon ng inyong research topic in mind. Now we're done with step 1. Okay? Step 1 pa lang yun so you can use as many tools as possible para lang narrow down nyo yung gusto nyong pag-aralan. Let's proceed to step 2. Now, let's establish your research problem based from the steps in, based from the tools in step 1. I'm sure meron na kayong mabubuo niyan, okay, na concept. So the next step is identify your target audience because your initial target audience will determine the range of early problem formation strategies. And based on your review of relevant literature and from other resources, Identify a research problem based on what your specific audience already knows and wants to know. Okay? Articulate your research intention in a way that aligns with your target audience and research problem formation. So you may ask yourself, does my research problem formation and potential contribution make sense given my target audience? Okay. Just like in this matrix, okay, on the right, which presents a structured approach to guide researchers in aligning their research efforts, okay? Meron siyang tatlong categories. The possible audience, this section identifies the primary groups that the research aims to engage or benefit, okay? Yung possible research problem formation, this section focuses on the types of research problems that could be addressed to resonate with the respective audience. And the possible contributions, this section aligns the potential impact of the research, including contributions to scholarly literature, program or professional evaluation, policy reform, social reform, providing new factual information, solving practical problems, and influencing popular discourse. So tingnan natin siya, ang breakdown niya sa audience. In terms of academics and professionals, this audience is typically interested in building upon existing theoretical frameworks, concepts, and empirical data which could contribute to scholarly literature and program evaluation. Kapag ka naman policymakers or the specific group you are interested to study or community group, they are often concerned with practical solutions and policy implications. Okay? The research should focus on empirical data and evaluation to inform policy reform and social change. For the general public and popular media, this audience seeks to understand complex issues in accessible ways. The research should aim to provide new factual information and address practical problems potentially influencing popular discourse. So what are the key takeaways in this framework? The framework emphasizes the importance of considering the target audience when designing research projects. So bear in mind your target audience, okay? It highlights a diverse range of potential contributions that research can make, from advancing theoretical knowledge to informing practical action. So this then will provide you a useful starting point, okay, to think critically about the purpose and impact of your work. This time, kailangan nasa isip nyo na yung audience, okay? And ano ang possible contribution nyo sa specific target audience ng inyong research study. Okay, so now let us refine by narrowing. Malapit na. Patapos na. Pag 2:30, may research questions na kayo. This one, okay, so mas specific na to ngayon. This is a guide provided by the University of Virginia. What are the key elements that you should look into? The who question. Focus on the target group of your research. Pwede niyong tingnan ang factors like gender, age, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. When? Okay. Consider the time frame of your research. Is it current, historical, or related to a specific event? What encourage you to identify the main issues and subtopics within your chosen area? The question why will prompt you to understand your motivation and the potential interest of others in your topic. Where will help you or define the geographic scope of your research. Saan ko kaya pwedeng i-apply ang study na to? Nationwide ba? Luzon-wide ba? Region-wide ba? Or CSPC lang? Okay? How? This question will guide you in determining the type of information needed and actually will give you now an idea of the research methodology kung paano nyo i-collect yung data. Okay? Now, I'll give you specific examples. Let's do that step by step. Okay. May dalawa akong example dito, but the steps ay ilinagay ko na. Wag lang kayong malilito. The first column refers to the step. Second column is an example on, this is siguro for engineering, ECE, or IT. And then yung third example, pang civil engineering din. Okay? Isa-isahin natin. Write the main problem or objective. Okay? Ang na-identify na research problem, so first example is the lack of early warning device for flood-prone communities. While sa second problem, can coconut leaf sheet fibers be utilized in the production of low-cost fiberboards? Okay? Ngayon, kailangan nyo nang isulat yung objective nyo. So, dun sa first problem, ang gustong gawin ni researcher, dahil kulang ang early warning device sa floods, so ang gusto niyang gawin, develop a flood detection system for flood-prone areas, okay, specifically, saan? Municipality of Nabua, Camarines Sur. Sa next example, gusto niya ngayong gamitin ang coconut leaf sheet in the production of fiberboards. Ang coconut leaf sheet po ay part ng coconut, yung parang, how do I describe that? Yung brown part na parang banig-banig style na nahuhulog. Okay? Gusto niyang pakinabangan ng researcher na yon kung pwede ba siyang maging raw material sa fiberboard. If you're familiar with fiberboards, yung ginagawa nating furnitures. Okay? Next step, identify now the key and auxiliary concerns. So sa first problem, ang key concern is to develop flood detection system. Auxiliary concerns niya na linista is to design, okay? Second, availability ng materials. Third, cost ng production, ng paggawa ng system. Fourth, yung capability niya to detect flood water. Number 5, yung response time ng system. Okay? Kung gaano siya kabilis, kasi nga early warning device to dapat. Sa second problem, ang concern niya na ngayon ay dapat makagawa siya ng fiberboard incorporating now the coconut leaf sheet. Okay? So ano yung na-identify niyang concerns? Ano kaya ang properties? Aralan ko kaya ang properties ng raw material na to? Kumusta naman kaya ang properties ng magagawa kong fiberboard like shrinkage, moisture content, termite resistance, fire resistance, okay? Yung tensile strength, compressive strength. And finally, kapag nabuo ko yung product na yon, magkano kaya ang makukompute kong cost? Okay? So next slide. Okay, now, analyze how the key and auxiliary concerns may be classified. Sa step 2, nag-enumerate lang kayo ng auxiliary concerns. This time, classify it. Okay? So, for example, sa first problem natin, kinategorize na into 3. Meaning to say, yung design, yung pag-design niya is one category. Second category, yung fabrication na ngayon ng device niya, kung saan titingnan niya ngayon yung availability ng materials and then cost of fabrication. And then yung third classification niya ngayon will be the operational efficiency. Kasi titingnan niya na ngayon kung gagana yung device niya in terms of flood water detection and response time. Okay? On the other hand, second example, pwede yung mga in-enumerate niya ma-classify into 4 categories. First, yung physical property ng raw material mismo, the coconut leaf sheet. Gusto niyang aralan yon. Pangalawa, kapag nabuo na niya ngayon yung fiberboard with that raw material, titingnan niya ngayon yung physical properties such as shrinkage, moisture content, termite resistance, and fire resistance. Third, classify niya ngayon yung tensile strength and compressive strength as mechanical properties of fiberboard with coconut leaf sheet. And finally, iniwalay niya ngayon yung cost ng product niya, ng fiberboard. Ngayon, paano nagka-idea si researcher ng classification ng mga concerns na gusto niyang aralan through related literature? Okay? So, while reading, makikita niya, madadaanan niya na ang shrinkage pala, moisture content, termite resistance, fire resistance, could be classified as physical properties, while tensile strength, compressive strength could be mechanical properties. Okay? Next step. Now, decide on the option. Yung in-enumerate ko kayang mga concerns na pwede kong isama sa study, kaya kong aralin yon, given the time considerations. For example, if you're a student na tatapusin ang research in 1 or 2 semesters, kaya ko kayang i-cover lahat ng yon? Or pipili lamang ako ng kaya kong aralin? Okay? So, based on your decision kung alin ang isasama at hindi, then write the specific questions or statements. So, now, gagawa na kayo ng general objective or problem. Regarding to address the lack of early warning device for flood-prone communities, now my study would be to develop and test a flood detection system for flood-prone areas in the municipality of Nabua. And specifically, this is what I would like to study. What is the design of the flood detection system? How will the flood detection system be developed? And what is the operational efficiency of the developed system along flood water detection and response time of the system? On the other study, ang nabuo niyang general objective is to develop a fiberboard from coconut leaf sheet and evaluate its properties. Okay? Kasi aralan niya ngayon yung property, yung characteristics ng nabuo niyang fiberboard. So ang specific problems would be, what are the properties of coconut leaf sheath fibers? Second, what are the physical properties of fiberboard with coconut leaf sheath on shrinkage, moisture content, termite resistance, and fire resistance? Third, what are the mechanical properties of fiberboard with coconut leaf sheath along tensile strength and compressive strength? Tatlo lang kasi based on my decision in step 4, ito lang ang gusto kong i-cover, yung tatlong ito. And so, that's the last step. Or, you can actually state, if not in interrogative form, statement, pwedeng declarative form. So, it could be, yung specific objectives sa first problem natin would be to design the flood detection system, to determine the fabrication process of the system, and to test the operational efficiency of the developed system along the two factors, flood detection and response time of the system. On the other hand, the second problem, it could be to determine the physical properties of coconut leaf sheath, to evaluate the physical properties of the fiberboard along these characteristics, and third, to determine the mechanical properties of the developed fiberboard along these characteristics. Okay, so that ends my presentation on research conceptualization. Questions po? Clarifications?
So to our participants, if you have any questions, comments, or clarifications, you may key in your comments in the chat box, or you may unmute your mics and ask the question yourselves.
I hope na bigay ko po sa inyo yung steps, tools and steps kung papaano nyo mabubuo, okay, yung medyo vague research concept at the start until such time na mabuo nyo yung research questions.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Daniel.
Sa research ko, ma'am, kakaunti pa lang ang local na mga literature. So, panay foreign literature. So, kakaunti pa lang ang gumagawa siguro dito yung research na yon. Kasi ang title ko ho, yung Assessment of Risk and Management Strategies of Implemented Projects in Canaman, Camarines Sur, way back 2022 to 2024. So nag-scan akong mga related lead. Hindi pa ako makakuha ng local na kuan. Di gagamitin ko yung mga foreign literature o ano pong gagawin ko.
Yes, sir. Kung makakakuha po kayo ng equivalent study sa other places, kung within the Philippines po, other regions, kung makakuha kayo, for example, mas hitik po ng projects probably is NCR, Metro Manila. Baka mas marami kayong makuha doon. If there's still dearth of literature within the country, then you can explore resources outside the country.
Yes, ma'am.
Maganda nga po yun, sir, kasi bago pa yung study
ma'am.
nyo, kung kukunti pa yung literature.
Opo. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure po.
Any other questions from our participants? Wala na pong comments or clarifications. Yes, Mr. Mariscotes.
Good afternoon po, Ma'am Ruby. My name is Marcio Feldi Mariscotes po, student of BSCE 2B. My question is it is more like humihingi po ako ng advice. If there was wait lang po. Sorry po. If there was a chance po, ma'am, that you went back in time and be a college student po ulit, given that with all of your knowledge po, how would you start your research? Syempre po, may knowledge na po kayo ang lahat-lahat po sa research. How would you make a research paper from in your own style po and research from scratch? Yes, yun po.
The best advice that I can give you as a student is read a lot of literature. Okay? Kasi alam
Thank
niyo
you.
po, yes, Mark?
Sige po, continue po.
Kasi po, actually, sa research may tinatawag tayong no read, no write. Di ba familiar tayo sa line na yon? No read, no write. Applicable po yun sa research. Kapag hindi tayo nagbasa ng other sources of information, ang mangyayari is, ang mabubuo nating concept is actually our haka-haka. Kasi walang scientific basis. Okay? Meaning to say, opinion mo lang ang mabubuo mo. Now, we are going to strengthen your opinion, your concept, by reading lots of literature. Kasi baka nga naman, yung iniisip natin, may nagawa na pala. Akala natin wala pang gumagawa nun. Kasi di pa nakikita natin sa market, o hindi pa natin ginagamit. Yun pala meron na. Okay? So, with your question, kung ako talaga babalik in my undergrad, magbabasa ako ng napakaraming literature. Because only then can you understand the really. Okay? Yung mapupuntahan mong direction. Kasi kapag yung una mong concept, ay wala pa nito kasi wala pa nito sa market. Wala pa nga sa Shopee, sa Lazada, etc. etc. So, pagdating ng oras, meron na palang nakafile sa IPO. And then, binubuo mo na, di ba, sinabi ko kanina, pwede kayo actually gumawa ng preliminary fieldwork. For example, if you're in engineering and you're into devices, paggawa ng device, baka naging interested na kayong masyado, nag-invest na kayong masyado sa pagaganahin ko ang device na to. Pero hindi man lang kayo nagbabasa pa. Baka pag nabuo nyo na, maya-maya, ay ma-order na kayo sa Shopee at Lazada. Okay? So my best advice is for you to read lots and lots of literature. Na-appreciate mo ba yun, Mark?
Thank you so much po, ma'am, for your information and for your advice po. Nakakatulong po. Thank you po.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So, Ma'am Bem, we have another question from the chat box from Mr. Raivan Joshua Climaco. Good afternoon. I was a sociology student from Caraga State University. I would like to ask that is it acceptable to change your theoretical framework after discovering new insights in your research?
Yes po, actually. Sir Climaco? Opo, pwedeng-pwede. Kasi ang theory naman, hindi naman siya, di ba? You can actually support a theory. You can disconfirm a theory. And actually, sa level kasi ng masters, di ba? Thesis, and lalong-lalo na sa doctorate level, pwede nating i-test ang theory. Okay? So, pwede ka pong makadiscover ng new relationships, new connections, new concepts, new ideas based from your research. Di ba nga, balikan natin yung definition natin ng research. Generation of new knowledge. So, baka yung dati nating alam, hindi na applicable ngayon. Baka sa research na gagawin mo, Sir Climaco, di ba? Baka yun ang magdidirect, mag-pave the way para may malaman tayong new idea out of the old theory na ginagamit natin. So, pwede po yun. I hope I answered your question.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes po, sir. You may go ahead po
So,
and
ang worry ko dito kasi civil engineer ho ako, pero yung kuwan ko hindi experimental. Kasi nag-scan ako ng mga thesis na puro experimental yung katulad ng mga plyboard, mga kung ano-ano pa. Pero hanggang dyan lang. Pero ito ho, yung kuwan ko, kaya siguro i-depensa ko to sa panel na itong research ko talaga makakatulong sa mga policy makers, sa mga engineers, na mga lalo na yung mga bago. So itong kuwan ko, i-assess ko yung mga risk involved sa construction projects implemented. Ano po ba ang kuwan mo?
Yes, sir. Pwedeng-pwede po actually. Kung wala pa po talaga niyan sa Philippines, why not?
Hindi po ako makakuha
Baka
ng puro foreign kuwan ho ito. Ang mga
okay lang po. Okay lang po
literature.
'yon. Magiging benchmark niyo po yung yung literature from other countries. Pwedeng-pwede po 'yon. Kung talagang tingin niyo po na ripaso niyo na lahat ng available literature in your area dito sa Philippines at wala po talaga kayong makita that would support your study, then open po talaga from other countries,
Yes, ma'am.
from foreign countries.
Pero
Pwedeng-pwede
kahit
po yun,
na
sir.
hindi ho experimental yung research ko, kasi pag engineer daw, experimental. Ayoko na ng experimental kasi marami nang gumawa niyan pero hanggang doon lang sa libro. Hindi mo na i-implement.
Mhm.
Yun lang ang
Well,
kuha.
sir, pagdating po sa ganyan, it will depend upon your school po, kung ano po ang major requirement nila.
Yes.
Pero kung kaya nyo pong i-defend yan, even if it's theoretical in nature, kasi risk
ma'am.
assessment naman
Kasi
po yan, di ba po?
management ho ito ng mga kuha na, mga implemented projects. Yung
Yun
nang
po,
kukunin
so,
ko saka yung risk involved doon sa mga
opo.
kuha, implemented construction projects. Pero hindi lang
Mhm.
experimental. Qualitative lang and quantitative research.
Or probably po, you can parang, what do you call that? Parang i-test nyo po yung tool nyo na madi-develop, sir. Yung
Opo.
framework nyo pong mabubuo, okay, pwede nyo pong i-test sa isang or ilang construction projects.
Opo. Kukunin ko nga yung kuha, yung mga implemented construction projects.
And
What
then, gagawa
what
po
are the
kayo
risks?
ng assessment tool,
Oh, yes,
risk
yes po.
assessment tool.
Yes
Pwede
po.
nyo po, sir, after developing your risk assessment tool, then implement that. Then
Yes,
kukuha po
ma'am.
kayo ng data.
Oh,
And then prove na working po yung nyo, yung tool nyo madi-develop.
yes. May mga questionnaire po ako na gagawa. Tapos yung mga interviews.
Yes po.
Thank you, ma'am.
So sige lang po, sir. Kaya nyo po yan.
Opo. Thank you, ma'am.
are there any more questions po from our participants? Any comments or clarification? Regarding your question, Ma'am Jemary, we will be sending a copy of the presentation along with the digital certificate po. Any more questions po? Clarifications? Ma'am Bem, we have a question from Miss Herly Bailen. Good afternoon po. I am Herly L. Bailen from BS DevCom. I apologize, I cannot turn on my mic at the moment. My question is, how can we as researchers po ensure that our research question, both innovative and relevant to current trends or needs in the field? Usually, from her experience, it tends to lean more on either of them.
Okay, thank you for your question, Herly. Okay. Ang innovativeness and relevance, okay, ng gusto nyong pag-aralan, specific research problem na gusto nyong i-undertake would still be dependent on the literature. Okay? Sa related literature kasi, sa pagbabasa nyo ng mga studies, you will be able to identify, okay, kung ano yung current trends sa field nyo. Okay? Kapag hindi kasi kayo nagbasa, just like with my answer doon kay Mark, feeling natin yung naiisip nating study ay sapat na at relevant pa. Okay? Pero kapag nakapagbasa na pala kayo ng mas bagong literature, kayo din yung makakasagot, okay? Whether or not, innovative ba ang iniisip kong study? Okay? Relevant pa ba to sa current times? Magagamit pa ba kaya ito? That is why, di ba doon sa step na binigay ko sa inyo, to identify your particular audience, that is an important, essential step kasi from that step, makikita nyo na ay, itong specific study na to, ito ang focus niya. Ngayon, yung nabasa nyong literature ay nakafocus sa teachers, for example. So, mangilan-ilan kaya yung nag-aral naman pagdating sa parents. Okay? Meron kayang nag-aral ng ganitong topic pagdating naman sa parents? So, kung wala pa, or kung konti pa lang, so that, and then nakikita nyo yung need along the way, as you go along with your readings, makikita nyo yung gap. Okay? When you're able to identify the gap, and in your research concept, feeling nyo, mafe-fill in nyo yun. At sa pagbabasa nyo, nakikita nyo na kulang yung nag-aaral sa area na yan. Okay? Then, definitely magiging innovative and relevant ang study. So, kailangan may makita kang gap sa related literature. Particularly sa ganitong audience or group of population. Kapag konti yung na-address sa area na yan, then your study will become innovative and relevant.
Any more questions po? Comments or clarifications? We have one question from Miss April May Sabilala. Ma'am, ask ko lang po if saan po pwede ma-access yung recorded video. So regarding the recorded video, we will be sending it along with the presentation and the certificate po. Wala na po bang questions or comments? Clarifications? Ma'am Bem, I think there are no more questions po. Final call po
Sige
from the
po.
participants.
As I flash along the references, sige po. Next slide. Okay, so I got most of my information. Most of the information I presented to you from these sources. And also from PSA, sorry, I forgot to include the example from PSA. Okay. So as a concluding word, conceptualization po is, research conceptualization is an exciting and enriching process actually. Okay, because you will be able to identify a meaningful topic, and then you will be led to formulate a clear research question that would give you thorough literature review, establish concise objectives, and then as you go along, makikita nyo din yung proper methodology, okay, sa pagbabasa nyo. And these processes, these steps are important in laying a solid foundation for your scientific inquiry. Remember po that research is a journey of exploration, and it is one that often leads to discoveries beyond what we initially set out to find. Okay? So, adya lang researchers. Okay? Go lang, kaya natin. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best in your research endeavors. Maraming salamat po. I hope may natutunan kayo sa session na to.